The Stage Door Show, celebrating the independent artist. With your host, Dave Hondel.
Hi everyone, welcome to The Stage Door Show tonight. This is Dave Hondel. Tonight, my guest is in the new romantic comedy entitled Townhouse Confidential. He's also been seen in TV in Law and Order, Gotham, and Hightown, and he's also an accomplished stunt performer. So please welcome to the show, Jonas Barranca. Thanks for joining us, Jonas.
Thanks for having me, Dave. It's great to be here.
All right, great. Well, again, I see you're from Brooklyn, growing up in New York City. Did that kind of have a piece in wanting to get into the arts, being around it all the time?
Sure. Actually, I come from a family of actors. Actually, both my parents met when they were cast as husband and wife in a play at Hunter College.
Nice.
My father's from Brooklyn. My mother's from the Bronx. And, I'm just a New York story through and through. Yeah. Started doing theater in community theater in Brooklyn Heights at the Heights Players. And since then, just been involved with it since it started there when I was about 9 years old.
So when you were immersed in it, I guess growing up, some kids, I guess, could turn the other way and say, you know what, I that's the last thing I want to do is, do that because I'm around it all the time and getting burnt out. But it sounds like you actually embraced it and kind of took it on and basically have been successful ever since. 9 years old, you got into it, and you said community theater. I think a lot of my listeners are in community theater, regional theater, and coming from your point of view, was that a good starting point for you to get in on that stage as opposed to in front of a TV camera or in front of a film camera? Was a stage a good starting point for you?
I love the training that I got just from working with everyday people, and the outreach that we were able to do as well was something that I found very valuable. The healing aspect of theater to begin with. It was an outlet for me that reading was very hard for me, and scripts for some reason were easier for me to manage. So it was an outlet that socially and after a while intellectually kind of helped me blossom in a certain way that I don't think without it, I don't know if it would have happened.
Yeah. Jonas, I think, speaking of community theater, my kids both went through it as well. And one of the things that I noticed, as being around that community is that it really is a community. It's a community of people who support each other regardless of, maybe if somebody doesn't do well in school, or maybe somebody doesn't have, as many friends as somebody else, and, they get into that space of, community theater, everybody supports each other, and they almost going through that process, almost become a better person or more accepting, I guess, of other people. Did you find that to be true?
Oh, absolutely. You work with people from all walks of life, all points of view. And at the end of the day, all you want to do is make this production, and people come together. It's one of the best things about the community theater is how much everyone gets to learn from every aspect of it. Could be someone's parent who sees that they need someone to run the light board because they're short-handed, and all of a sudden that person does that for the next few years, or someone learns carpentry skills just because they needed a hand building the set one day, and after a while those skills build up, and people that's just the beauty of theater to begin with. I think is all the skills that you learn along the way that are just a part of putting together a show.
Yeah, for sure. And when did when did it kind of grow into more of a not so much like a love or a hobby? When did it become more of like a serious obsession to be in it, like, as a career? Was that like in high school, or was it beyond high school?
I pretty much always knew I was going to do something involved in the arts. As a profession in high school, I went to LaGuardia Arts High School for trumpet, and deciding where to go for college was very difficult, actually. Originally, I was looking for music, and then along the way, I realized that I kind of wanted a little bit more formal acting training and voice training. So I went to SUNY Fredonia and got my fine arts degree up there in theater. And but since then, it's a work. It's work like anything else. I picked a career, and I've tried to use every single skill that I've had along the way
And the other thing that I wanted to kind of go over is your improv, because you went to Upright Citizens Brigade and you got training there. So as an improv actor, learning improv I think is important, and we talk about this on a lot of our shows. We have a lot of improv actors on the show, but talk about your training there, and did that help you become a better actor in all other aspects of the craft?
Absolutely. The flexibility that you're forced to learn with performing with people, not knowing what's going to come out of someone's mouth second to second. Especially for comedy. I mean, especially with the movie Townhouse Confidential that we're working on right now, I had such liberty from Patrick, our director, to go wherever I wanted to go with certain scenes, which I thank my improv training immensely for forcing myself to have the freedom to go there sometimes, Yeah.
Did you, working with Patrick, we've had him on the show before, and, I know that directors are all different. I mean, you're going to work with several different directors, which you have, and, in your career. But, do you find that the director that gives you that liberty to improv a little bit, or maybe take a line and maybe make it a little bit different? I mean, do you like that liberty or that freedom to do that if you have to?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, anyone who gives you an opportunity for a run and try things a few different times, if the, always respect to the script writer, but if they allow you a liberty as well to change a word here and there, try your own thing. There are a couple of lines that made it into the final edit that came out of my own mouth. It's an honor to pass their test at the end of the day, because I never want to step on anyone's toes.
Yeah.
But if given the opportunity to run, I'll always do it. Yeah.
So talk about the movie Townhouse Confidential, and what we can expect from your character, because I know it's it's a kind of it's a movie, but it was a spoof on a Pride and Prejudice and
Prejudice.
Yeah.
Well, if you are familiar with the story Pride and Prejudice, I would say that my character is more along the Wickham lines of someone who's he ends up being kind of the romantic villain sort. But at the end of the day, he's gunning for himself. Tommy Leroy, he's a kind of no good little handyman who works his way around the West Village. But the movie's a lot of fun. It's a really fun rom-com. It's a really good New York story. Anyone who spent time in the village, in Greenwich Village, will recognize the places that we're going to and the sites that we feature. And Ish, our great cinematographer, and Patrick, they found some great shots that the whole West Side. It really makes you, and it just makes you want to be in New York in the summer too. Eat a cupcake on a bench somewhere in New York in the summer and just enjoy some pigeons flying by. It's like,
yeah. I mean, I live in Miami now, but I lived in New York for 2 years. And, being in New York for so long, I can't wait to see the film myself and see I lived in the West Village for the first month that I was there in New York. So I can't wait to see some of the sites that are in the film. So I'm really excited about that. And for those of you who visited New York, I mean, it's one thing to visit, but to actually live there, I think you can appreciate it a lot more, the everyday New York, the struggles and everything you go through in New York. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. I know you've done some stunt work as well, and you've been on a lot of different networks doing stunt work. So how did you get involved with stunt work? Did that just come by accident, or is that something that you actually auditioned for? I mean, how does that work?
I had my alma mater at SUNY Fredonia, at the part of their training, had a great stage combat program.
Oh, okay.
But before that, I had gotten involved in boxing training from when I was a teenager. That made me kind of take to the program in college a lot, to the point that I was TAing and adjudicating my fellow students by the time I graduated. And then when I moved into LA right after college and got hooked up with Sword Fights Inc. Stunt team. And we did a lot of sword fights, kind of like History Channel kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Very frequently. But that was a great way to continue my training. And since then, trained with some great cats here in New York City. And other than that, it's just about knowing what you can do and making sure that when you show up, you're able to do it. A lot of things are on the line when you're there to work, and people are relying on you to be the guy to do it quickly and efficiently, and safely, right? So just be honest about what you can do and learn things that you can't.
I mean, even some of the small scenes that we see on TV, even the History Channel or some of the reenactment things that we see on TV. I mean, how many hours does it take to learn, choreograph, I guess, each of those scenes? Because I would imagine even a few seconds on camera would take hours to actually choreograph.
Oh, sure. I mean, sometimes it's really, really long sessions. Sometimes you get on set and a director might want you to throw something together quickly. And, within maybe half an hour to an hour, you might have some time to throw together a few beats of the fight. But often, I mean, hopefully you get a little bit more time. Hopefully you get a rehearsal day or something like that, depending on the size of the fight, the number of people involved, how many moving parts there are. So, sometimes it could just be a couple of people have a hit, a slap, a hair pull, something like that. And sometimes it's really ground and pound. Yeah. So, it kind of depends on what the work is.
Growing up in Brooklyn again, I think that, Brooklyn is a great place to grow up to see, because I mean, everything to me in Brooklyn seems like a movie set, every corner, you turn, there's cobblestone or alleys or, the Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, or whatever. It's all like a movie set to me. So, now growing up in Brooklyn, I mean, was that something did you ever make your own movies, or did you ever get your friends together and get the camcorder and make your own films?
Absolutely. I hung out mostly with my older brother and his friends when I was a kid, and I was kind of that little scrappy runaround kid. But they somewhere there are a couple of old camcorder tapes of some home movies that my good friend Jamie would write and direct, and we would shoot in our backyards.
Yeah.
Strange neo-political genres. We were like 10 years old making nonsense in the backyard, but absolutely. I mean, that was before cell phones.
Oh, for sure.
So, most definitely.
The old 8mm cameras, right?
Yeah, I got a whole bag of those tapes somewhere.
Yeah. What's your most memorable moment, I guess, in the business since you started?
Oh man, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. It would be, if there's something, I don't want to drop a name, but honestly, this is when I was still doing background.
Okay.
And this is probably one of the most memorable moments. But it was, I was just getting something from the craft services table, and so was this actor.
Sure.
And I, someone who I've watched years and years, watched them kind of grow up in movies and everything else.
Yeah.
And, I know that they're in their head, they're doing the role, doing whatever they need to do to stay focused. And I didn't want to get in their way. I wanted them to get their watermelon or whatever it was and get onto the set. And I apologized for, hopping out of their way. And they're like, no apologies, man. We're all doing the same thing. And it was just one of the most humbling human moments of anyone of that level that I have seen ever. Right, I've seen a bunch of people on that. Yeah.
That's great. And I know that people have done a lot of work. Sometimes they might have a not so great moment with somebody who they've maybe watched, but working is like anything else. You might have a bad day, you might have a good day, whatever it is, but I'm glad you had a good experience like that. That's good.
I mean, the thing is, the person that you're a piece of garbage to one moment could be directing you in a year or two. Just be humble. We're all people. Every person that you run into on set is just trying to make the day happen.
Right.
Whether they're, carrying stand or lens, or, whether the background or makeup person, whoever it is, everyone's just trying to make the day happen. So, when tempers get short and something doesn't necessarily go the right way, when you're standing for a little bit longer than you thought you were going to. A lot of other people are too. And it's just, stay humble. Be thankful that you're there, because a lot of people want to be there. Whatever the job is, a lot of other people have been wanting to be there at the same time, and instead are hustling in some other way, hoping that they can do that.
Yeah.
So be thankful for every day that you have to make art.
That's great advice. And like I said, I like talking about that. And when you brought it up, we had to talk about that a little bit, because it's one of the most important things I think people will take away from this. I guess, what do you tell that one kid who's maybe in, I don't know, high school, and is going out for, all the roles that they have in their high school plays, or maybe community theater, regional theater, and they're always hearing no. What do you tell that person that's about to kind of give up on their dream, and they could be so close to it? What do you tell that person?
Just keep doing it. If learning the lines makes you feel good, if performing it, even with the notes, if it makes you feel good at all, just keep doing it. Because at some point it's going to be a yes. I know it sounds cliche sometimes when people say that, but I've been doing it since I was 9, and it's only very recently that things are really starting to take off. And I've had my successes along the way, but now, hopefully starting to get a little bit of traction. And it's a road. It's a serious road. So just keep pursuing it. Anything that makes you happy, any piece of art, whether you're a painter or a poet, just keep doing it until the people who are meant to hear it or see it do. Yeah,
that's great. Is there anything you regret? Is there anything in your past, in the arts, is there anything that you wish you would have done differently?
There were a few times when I was a younger actor on certain sets that I wish I would have shut my mouth a little bit. Just trying to kick it with the rest of a certain level that maybe I just ran my mouth a little bit too much. But other than that, I can't really think of too much.
Yeah. My last question here, I ask everybody this on every one of my shows, but what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? What do you want to leave people with when it's all said and done, when they think of your name?
When they think of my name, I want people to think that I help people at the end of the day, that I help people and brought people joy.
That's great. Best of luck to Townhouse Confidential. We're all looking forward to that. Can't wait to see you in it. And you're always welcome on the show. So anytime you want to come on, you're always welcome.
Yes, sir. It's great to meet you.